What's happening? Out of work? Oh man, you don't even know the half of it. Just excited. Whoa, look at this. They got so much to say right now. That's pitch black. Feel me? Shit looks so good. Shit, oh shut up. Today's the first day of Black History Month. It's only right. Showed y'all a blackbird. Feel me? I know some people will look at it as a blackbird is something that just eats corpse and nasty stuff. But truth of the matter, anybody knows that this world itself is God's house. And we, the black people of this earth, are the ones that keeps it clean, pure, holy, joyful. So and I'm speaking in scientific plain terms. If you take a look at what the color or the melanin or the carbon does, you can put it in those categories, and that's what the darkness is for. Basically, that's what the blackness and the carbon or melanin or whatever you want to use it as is for. It's to maintain order. It's to maintain organized. The black in this world is to maintain whatever needs to be maintained. And that's what we do. We maintain stuff. You feel me? We uphold stuff. That's why you always see us fight in the front line. When everybody else was treating African bad and just taking us for slaves, then misleading the world and telling the world that, they was just slaves. But yeah, you knew what kind of slaves you wanted to pick within the African region. It's like me going to get a product. It's like me going to get, not even a product. It's like me going on an app, right? This was the first time they had an app. They had the whole shit figured out already. It's like me going on an app, right? And I'm specifically looking for an electrician to come fix my electricity. You think I'm gonna go get a plumber to go fix my electricity? They knew who they was going for within that African region because they knew they wanted people who can cultivate a land and build stuff up. So they went and got a specific group of people. You feel me? And they dropped them off in a specific location. And those people the people that they dropped, were they supposed to be in that location? Some of them they drop here, somewhere they drop here. But they was all African with different tribes. You feel me? They knew what the fuck they was doing. It wasn't coincident. Nobody spent that much money on a Voyager just going for an experiment. Y'all niggas must be stupid. Let me think about it. I'm just looking at the evidence and now I'm thinking about it. I'm like, now let's think. You spend that much money on a Voyager that was left over by the Moors. You feel me? After the Moors left Spain, then all of a sudden they discovered a new world. Then after that, everything just started rolling. How the fuck you ain't know there was a new world and the Moors was around? They already knew about the Americans already. About Native Americans and the Americans and everything else already, because the Africans was already traveling around the world. The Moors was already in Spain and Italy and France, a little bit of France, not the whole way in. You feel me? So how you gonna tell us what you telling us when you write your history books? Especially when we starting to wake up, we gotta see it from a different perspective now. That's all I'm asking for people. Look at the story that's being told and look at it from a different perspective. And see if they don't change the story again. You feel me? How do you have that much money on a Voyager? You sending your sailors. You sailing with your best finest ship. Feel me? It was the best that they had at that time. It wasn't Titanic, but it was the best that they had. At least Titanic sank. This shit ain't sink. The Africans just didn't want to commit to it. They said like, fuck it, I'd rather die. I respect you, salute. You feel me? A lot of warriors die along the way because they refused. They just wasn't with it. They just wasn't with it, you feel me? So let's go into the story again. They sailing on the finest ships with they didn't even take no warriors, my nigga, because it wasn't like they sent a Roman army. These people was very deceitful. First they send the scientists, the archaeologists, the writers, researchers, learn the land a little bit, you know. Just like they did the Native Americans, you know. Let them niggas, you know. You bring them in, you welcome them in, then overnight they started stealing people. Like they just started sneaking people back into their ship, little by little, just sneaking them. Just, you know, like sneaking them. Then had other agreement with other tribes within the African nation, form a collusion, and started getting a lot of people, even the place that where I'm from. I'm not gonna say. There were people within that region. There were people within that region itself that helped collude with the Europeans. And that's just a fact. Feel me? There was people within that region itself. I know some of the Ethiopians also did that too. Most of the African countries, they thought I was gonna run. This nigga's Fula. Niggas is crazy. Most of the African countries who really didn't get touched like that, because everybody thought the whole of Africa got enslaved. Now that's not true. Most of the slaves came from West Africa. A good portion of it came from West Africa. So why that Pacific location? Because you have South Africa, you have Eastern Africa, you got Egypt, you got Ethiopia. Even Ethiopia wasn't even touched. We gotta start asking the question, why? Why is that? And I don't want to hear about, cause they had, nah, my nigga, I'm not even trying to hear it. The Zulu Nation invited these people in willingly. I'm talking about the real Zulus, African Zulus, not American Zulus. I'm talking about Shaka Zulu himself. There's documentary on these things that you can watch where Shaka Zulu was inviting these people in. At first he was skeptical, but then he was like, this is, you know what I mean? We naturally are very welcoming people. So that's what happened. But long story short, today's Black History Month. And what I'm doing right now is just going through a brief history of the history of it all that led all of us here. And I'm saying that the African Americans that are here today, which I call Black Americans or the Native Americans, because they're Native now. If you've been somewhere for at least 500 years and you still can't be acknowledged as the native of that land, and yet other whites from other countries can come here less than 100 years, and we don't even attach European whites to them, we just call them Americans, then there's a problem. Come on, man. That shit don't even make sense to me. How the fuck, because of the complexion of your skin, you can't be called an American? When an American, when being in even if you take a look around the whole America, if you take a look at around the whole America, as time goes on, we know that the complexion that dominates in this geography is brown. It truly is brown. Like eventually, even if I'm here for a long time, eventually my skin complexion is going to turn copper brown or almost reddish as time goes on. The melanin, the darkness of my skin deteriorates, and that's because of the changing of the color, the changing of the weather, the changing of the weather. So my DNA will make a soothing melanin where it can survive and thrive in this environment. And the complexion that thrives in this environment, we know from the Native American, is a brownish, reddish, probably, almost like a darkish complexion. You know what I mean? Like take a look at the Native Mexicans and the Native Perus and the Native Venezuelans and everything else like that. You can tell they're not white, but they have a very darker complexion. They darker than what the other ethnic groups are. You know what I mean? We know how they got that complexion because the Europeans came, But we talking about the natural complexion. We also know this to be a fact because they paint themselves in their own pyramids on the wall. And when the Africans came, they painted them like my complexion or even darker. But when they describe themselves, they paint themselves brown or kind of reddish. You feel me? So we know what the dominant color is. So if you go call somebody American, and an African American has been here for 500 plus years, and you can call them American, there is a problem. But yeah, you can call yourself American. Nah, we good. Feel me? That's why I call them. I don't call them African American. I just call them American. And if I needs to be discreet, I'd be like Black American. Because they've been removed so much from their African lineage. Like me, I can go back to Africa right now and know where my grandmother's house is at. I know where my aunts and uncles is at. Like I know the specific location. I don't have to do no ancestor, Ancestor DNA, whatever, ancestor.com or 360 DNA, whatever the hell these things are called. Just to find a location. We don't even know whether that shit is true. And we gonna go out there and tell these niggas, well, they said, ancestor DNA said I am related to you. Get the fuck out of here. They look at you like, America. You feel me? So it's like, yo, you have to understand this. Every Black American has a home in Africa. Regardless of any spot that he picks, he can have that home in Africa. You feel me? And that's just a fact. You feel me? They can have any home. But I don't want them going on AncestorDNA.com to go find some results, man. If you want to go to Africa, just go to Africa. Visit the different countries and see which one you relate to the most. And that's your family, and they will accept you for what it is. Just, always. I was watching Rescue Dawn yesterday, and this is very important. Damn, man, these niggas be stalking. How the fuck? Anyway, man, I was watching Rescue Dawn, and after they rescue him at the end, he said, they asked him, what did you learn? He said, my cup was full. He said, it's a cup that is full, you empty the cup and refill the cup and itch where it scratches. I thought that was fucking lovely. So basically what he's saying is that when you go to a new place, right, forget about everything that you learned. That's like everything that you learned is in the cup. Empty that cup out. Now learn where you at. You feel me? You learn that. That's you filling back up your cup again. And be humble, itch where it scratch. You feel me? Be very humble and be patient. Because it's going to be a long hour standing there and shit like that. You feel me? And you just, because it's something new that you learn, you're not going to be comfortable with it. That's why he said itch where you scratch. Oh, man, I'm tight, bro. This is crazy. How the fuck? I'm going to walk that way. Anyway, that's why he said itch where you scratch. Seems like these people would let it. It was. That shit crazy. Niggas, he was waiting. Look at that. He was waiting until I get close. Then, now they got the bush. Come on, man. Like, these niggas, man. It's always like that. Every time I'm going against some, I guess they make this whole shit up in their head. Like, I be working. I ain't got time for these niggas, bro. And that's what on God, my nigga. On God, nah, this shit gonna stop in the middle of it and waste my time. Yeah, I'm about to just climb over it. Like, I ain't even playing, bro. Break all the rules. They be breaking rules, so why not I break the rules? Feel me? Fuck out of here, bro. This shit just gone. Wait, who you waiting on? Yo. Now they got me tight. Nigga just waiting. Who you waiting on? That shit gonna be there for a long time because everybody doing the 360 right now. That shit whack, bro. Nah, another train is coming. Every time I battle somebody, like, I don't know what it is. It's always those two races. You know how that shit, white or Hispanic, and I guess today was kind of white, then Hispanics kind of came in there and dished in a little bit. You know how that goes. Little niggas is violence. You know, white boys, they always, you know, the greatest actors in the world. Always acting like they're not involved. How you doing? Fucking psychotic. Oh, come on, man. This nigga driving backwards and forward. You see me, I'm too small for it. I'm about to go around this shit. Fuck that. I'm not waiting on these niggas. I'm fucking not waiting on you niggas, man. I don't care what these rules say. We gotta go. We gotta go. We gotta go. It don't mean nothing to me. See that shit, man? Bro. They just holding this shit up. American flag. I'm the only American that's flagging. About to watch this. Y'all see the front of the train, right? They backing into. Let me see. These are who? Oh. Mad. Anyway, left that place. Anyway, so as you can see, yeah, you can't, like, you have to understand, man, from what we know too, from the world that I see around me, right? As you see everything look like it's peaceful. The ground, I'm talking about the natural, I can't even call them elements, but everything that the elements is made of that eventually manifests into matter. We know that in the beginning it was very chaotic. We know this for a fact. We know in the beginning of formation, it was very, very chaotic. Worlds was crashing in together, lavas everywhere. You feel me? We know this for a fact, you feel me? But now look at what it has manifested into. It seems like it's calm, but yet very vibrating. You feel me? But it looks like, if you look at this world today, we couldn't have told that it used to be a very violent place where earthquakes, everything was being shaken up. It was like a food that you put on a stove and it was just boiling. It was just boiling crazy. You feel me? Imagine something very, very hot, but yet delicious, and you couldn't wait to taste it. But in the process of it being made, I'm going somewhere with it, trust me. In the process of it being made, it was boiling, it was hot. You couldn't even taste that shit. That shit was just flying all over the place. You had to put a cover on it and make sure that it cooks good, you feel me? It had to be ready. It had to be mixed. Ready mixed. Nah, that's because I'm looking. I always look at things that just added to what I'm saying. It's a good talent to have. But yeah, you see, everything was just coming together. Then after that, when they finally go through that trauma of it cooking and being mixed up and, you know what I mean, coming to check, God came and check on it and taste it. Give it 5 more minutes. You feel me? Shit like that. Boom. Then, after that, when it's done, it looked like it looks so warm and calm. And whoever eats it, it warms their body up. It even gives you energy. You feel me? If joy, not a girl's name or any nigga, it's not a joy ride. I'm talking about joy itself, something that's not tangible, but it's in the spirit. If joy had a matter, guess what? It would look like something that's very satisfying, right? And that's the same thing with people who have went through civil war, who have went through war itself, we are the universe itself. So everything that the universe went through, we are eventually going through it itself. Every inch of it, we're just going through in a different form of way. You feel me? We just going through in another phase. What people would call, quote unquote, another universe or whatever the fuck they call it. Those terms is too much. I try to make things simple. So we just going through in another form. When the world was crashing and the volcano and the earthquakes and everything else, and the moon allegedly was another planet that hit Earth and later on became our moon and everything else like that. You feel me? That's the same thing with us too. We collide within each other as a country, and we collide for the right for peace and joy to happen. And that's the same thing with Africa. Africa already went through their phases of earthquake and lava and everything else. We went through those civil wars. We went through a lot of wars before they came along. So when we went through all these things, we already had a peace deal. We was already solid in the things that we was looking for. We was already peaceful. We knew how to live on the land. We had everything that we wanted. We had kingdoms that passed. Like if they're still digging up Africa, and they're seeing that there was empires, gold and everything else that was taken up. We was already content with what we had. We was already rich. You feel me? We had cultures that we didn't even know was supreme than other cultures because we were just following what we was told. You feel me? But we already went through this thing, and we look so peaceful. Feel me? Like the trees and everything else like that. Everything looked stable. We was just in our purpose. And somebody just came along who didn't know any better and started cutting down the trees, not knowing that he needed oxygen for them. Thinking that the tree was different from him. And started cutting that shit down. And that's what happened. And started stealing timber, trees and everything else like that. You feel me? He started stealing that shit. Because he never asked permission. Because he knew if he would have asked permission, he would have been educated. And the person that feels the most guilty is a person that knows better, but yet don't do better. You feel me? So some people chose to stay in their ignorance by refusing to learn. Because they know if they learn, then they are content to do the right thing. You feel me? Or else, if they learn and then don't do the right thing, then they judge themselves and it eats away at them. It eats away at them. And some of them resort to like alcohol and drugs and everything else because they literally punishing themselves because they cannot forgive themselves for the thing that they knew but yet do. You feel me? God doesn't have to come down to whip you with a cane. You gonna do that shit yourself. You feel me? And that's why sometimes you see people abusing alcohol, abusing drugs, or abusing violence, or they even turn to somebody else and abuse that person, not knowing that it's going to affect them in the long run. It just hasn't been cooked, whatever. Yeah, let's go. I'm gonna try to avoid the major streets. But it hasn't come into fruition yet. That's the word I was looking for. Thank you for running and giving me that the smartness. But it hasn't come into fruition yet. And that's what happened with the African Americans and everything. They was already full. They was served. There was like a civilization upon civilization. We was already kings and queens. We was good. It was peace. Every time when you see calmness, that means that peace has been established. You feel me? And you have people that came in. We couldn't have been that welcoming if we didn't know what peace felt like. You feel me? Those behavior are equivalent to a person that knew what it means to be a righteous, peaceful individual, a thinking individual. For you to just invite a total stranger. These niggas try to hit me with the car. They didn't even say peace, try to call for your attention. They were just, Poppy, come on, man. No, you come on, bro. Come on, man. Feel me? These niggas act crazy. They gonna try to act crazy. We'll shut that shit down. Feel me? See, look at them. Very close. They gonna try to act crazy. Anyway, man. So you have these people that came in and for me to invite you into my house without knowing you, that means I got a kind heart. A lot of people try to associate that shit with naiveness and be like, oh, they have to know. There was none. That means like you know what it feels like. It's like Jeff Bezos and them offering people jobs, or Apple and everything else. They don't have to offer these people jobs and everything else like that. They could have been very biased in their approach. You feel me? This is me inclusion. That's what I'm doing right now. That means I have a righteous heart by using them as an example. I didn't have to use them as an example, but I did. It's an inclusion period. You feel me? But I'm just saying, if somebody invites you to the house and that person is a king and is respected by others, because they had the king's son. What's up, baby? They had the king's sons and everything else that were a lot of royalty people who were captured. You feel me? That's why it was so hard for a person like Kunta Kinte. I said Kunta Kinte, Shaka Zulu. Yeah, it was Kunta Kinte. It was so hard for somebody like a Shaka Zulu. No, a Shaka Zulu or Kunta Kinte to submit themselves to. A lot of people died off the boat because these people were royal. They couldn't see themselves. Hey, what's up? Show you. Look at these. Woo, 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 woo. Woo, 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 woo. Yo, I'm not even in your property anymore, God. Oh, hell. I was about to say. Yo. It looked like the tree fell on the gate. I'm like, this nigga's about to jump over the gate. I'm about to knock him out. I ain't even gonna lie, but it was at least 6 of them. So I was gonna lose that battle. But as you can see, you know what I mean? That's what Africans was already content. But they came and stole us, da-da-da. Let's get over that story part right there. You know what? Let me go to this store. They came and stole us, and the rest was history. You feel me? And then you have the African American that has been here for 400, 500, almost 600 years now. Had no communication. They don't even advertise for them to go back home or anything else. Like, we are the ones who became conscious and be like, y'all should go. Not we as me as an African. I'm talking about African Americans or Black Americans, or just the American that has a darker complexion was the one that was like, yo, I think we should start advertising to go back home. There was advertising for people to go to Europe. Y'all should have advertised for them to go back home. You feel me? What kind of a master? After you claim after you claim that you free these people, and yet you don't want to educate them on, like, you feel me? You know what happened between that 400 years? We couldn't even read a book. It was against the law. Don't play that cool joke on me. How can you read? Hold on. Mr. Intentional, you say that it's impossible, but I know it's possible. You say that it's improbable, but I know it's... These are come more children with us. You feel me? So it is what it is, man. But shout out to Black. I listened to Black History Month today, but I listened to Lauryn Hill. Yeah, Lauryn Hill is too much for me.
Gold? Short?
Oh, no.
Okay, let me know how I'm on the way. The red one? Marlboro? Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Thank you both. Have a good night. You too.
Oh, I'm about to say. Whew. Boy, did I get excited. What's up? Oh, let me get, how much is that right there? 450? Let me get a pack of Newports. Yeah, hold on. Where did I get that Newport from? I didn't like the way it tastes. Let me get singles. Let me get, how much is 8? 8? Yeah.
12.50.
With this?
Yeah.
I'll take it. How much is the total?
$13.
You charging me already? Yeah. Check this out. Like business. Can I use the lighter real quick? That's it. I'll talk to y'all later.